All right. Cleveland Browns 31, Jacksonville Jaguars 27. Both teams 8-5. Trevor Lawrence, despite being injured, played all right, turned the ball over way too much against the good Cleveland defense. 257 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions. Joe Flacco outdoes him. Goes 311 and 3 touchdowns, but the difference is only 1 interception. So Flacco is surprisingly decent as a streamer. That's kind of scary. Another injured player here, Travis Etienne, comes through, 35 rushing yards and a touchdown, and 4 for 37. So the touchdown probably makes his day look a lot nicer than it was. Dearness Johnson goes 3 carries for 12 yards and 2 for 16 through the air. Jerome Ford, 12 carries, 51 yards, and 5 for 31 through the air. Kareem Hunt carries 10 times for 27 yards and saves his day with a rushing touchdown. The receivers were all average and not great. Calvin Ridley goes 4 for 53. Parker Washington, 2 for 27. A touchdown helps, and the fumble lost hurts. Zay Jones goes 5 for 29. Christian Kirk out of the lineup, so I was surprised they just kind of spread it out here. Amari Cooper goes 7 for 77, loses a fumble. David Bell goes 1 for 41 and a touchdown, so it's all on one play and cannot be relied on. Eli Moore, I thought, would do better. He was 3 for 42. Cedric Tillman, 2 for 23. The tight ends were the stars here. Every time I looked up, there was a tight end in the end zone in this game. We have Evan Ingram, 11 catches on 12 targets, 95 yards, and a touchdown. David Njoku, 6 catches on 8 targets, 91 yards, and two touchdowns for both. Sorry, I don't know if I said 1 or 2. We'll get back into them in a second. I'm going to look and see. I bet you they are tight end 1 and 2 on the week.
They gotta be.
McManus was crappy for fantasy, 3 for 3 on extra points. Dustin Hopkins was okay, 1 for 1 on field goals, 4 for 4 on extra points. Both defenses were solid. The Jags put up 1 interception, a sack, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 recoveries. And the Browns put up 3 interceptions, 4 sacks, a forced fumble, 1 recovered, and 4 fourth down stops. I'm going to quickly switch over here to the stats leaders for tight ends, and it is Ingram and Njoku back-to-back for our leaders. No surprise there. What's your takeaway from this one?
Yeah, like it's interesting with these quarterbacks, but it's very simplified in these offenses with the injuries of how they're distributing their targets. Like we see it, Cooper led the team, Njoku was second, and then is Elijah Moore third. And Njoku ran more routes than Elijah Moore, which was interesting to me. I was wondering how the second game would go with that. But it really simplifies. It's like those 3. And on the flip side, Jacksonville, it's really easy to tell. You look at the targets, they freaking had, 14 for Zay Jones, 13 for Ridley? Like that's those 2 guys right there. And then Ingram with 12. So it's like, these offenses, it's really easy to decide who's getting the targets and who's not. Like you just consolidate on those 3, and then the running backs could chip in and here and there with the receiving work. But like it's really hyper concentrated on those guys. Where we had even ETN get 4 targets, Jerome Ford got 6, and this is because of Joe Flacco. So like Joe Flacco, he was going to check it down, and like helps Ford get there where he's basically 10 points a game. Like you just look at his stats every week, it's 10 points, 12, 9, 10. It's really weird how consistently just average he's been. And on the flip side, like ETN, he's just doing his thing where he's a mid to high end RB1. So overall, with the injury, I was worried about Trevor Lawrence, but he was fine. We had questions about our Star Show. We're like, I guess you got to play Lawrence. I don't know. But yeah, he did okay. So overall, I'm curious to see with Flacco who they're going against next week. But like, he might be another guy who you want to consider streaming because he's a veteran quarterback who's proven that he can consistently guide these offenses up and down the field. It's not going to kill you. So like, they're playing Chicago next week. So, you know, I think you could do worse than starting Joe Flacco in week 1 of the playoffs if you're like the 6th seed and need a quarterback.
Yep, Chicago, Houston, back-to-back. That's not a terrible option. Quarterbacks, I think, are both playable. Obviously, Lawrence is the better of the 2. You're going Ford and ETN. I don't really want anything to do with Kareem Hunt. It seems like he's not even getting the passing downs work. He was saved by a touchdown here. The receivers are a mess. They're all over the place. Both tight ends are elite, and I don't know, the defenses are good, just matchup dependent.